2013 application overview. I'm going to give this just another minute because some folks who may not have used GoToWebinar before may need to download the software. So if you can just bear with us for 2 minutes, then I'll get started just to give those folks a little extra cushion. We're going to give it 1 more minute just in case any folks need to download the software, and then we'll get started. All right. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. Welcome to the application overview for the ImpactAssets 50 2013. My name is Lindsay Norcott, and I'm the Strategic Initiatives Officer for ImpactAssets, and I'm excited to walk you through this today. A few housekeeping items before I go through today's agenda. This meeting is being recorded, and that's partially so that we can make that available to you afterwards in case you need to go back to it, but just to let you know that it is being recorded. You're all on mute, but if you have questions along the way, please type them in the chat box, and I will field those questions at the end. All right. So our agenda today, I've already welcomed you, and I'll give you a brief overview of ImpactAssets, and then we'll talk through the ImpactAssets 50. So I'll talk through a little bit of how this got started, the selection criteria, the timeline for the application and the announcement, as well as give you some details about what it means to be part of the IA 50 and the promotional aspects of that. And then we'll leave it open for questions. So a quick overview of ImpactAssets. We are a nonprofit financial services firm, and all of our work is focused on increasing the flow of capital into impact investing. So we do that through 2 main ways. One is through innovative product development. Our flagship product is our donor advised fund, which provides impact investing options to our donor advisors. And we're also in development for 2 investment strategies that will be accessible at fairly low minimums and hopefully sort of democratize access to impact investing. We also do field building work, which are knowledge resources such as the ImpactAssets 50, which we'll talk more about. But we also have our issue briefs, which are available on our website that are short 10 to 12 page plain English pieces on issues within impact investing, and we also do events and webinars and other pieces to sort of increase folks' awareness and familiarity with impact investing and what their options are as they enter the field. So now let's talk some more about the ImpactAssets 50. The ImpactAssets 50 is a publicly available database of private debt and equity impact investing fund managers. And I think one of the more interesting parts of the IA 50 is understanding a little bit about how it got started. One of our founders, Ron Cordes, who you may know from Genworth Financial, when he learned about impact investing and wanted to start incorporating it into his personal portfolio, he just found it really challenging to find an advisor who really understood the landscape, financial advisor or find a place online where there was a central spot where he could really understand who were the players and who was doing this work. So at a Clinton Global Initiative meeting, he made a commitment to create the ImpactAssets 50, and this will be our third year of publishing this list. This list is really meant to serve as a gateway into impact investing for investors and their financial advisors, so that they have an easy way that they can identify experienced impact investing firms and really explore their potential investment options. So as you all know, there's more than 50 top-tier impact investment funds in the world, and so we can't include all of them. We've kept it to 50 so that it's a manageable number for folks to sort of dip their toe into this space. But this really, when we curate this list, it's meant to show the wide range of impact investing activities across geographies, across sectors, across asset classes. And I really want to stress that this isn't an index, it isn't an investable platform. That's part of why we're able to make it broadly available. There's no accredited investor requirement, it's not password protected. This is really meant to show the breadth of impact investment fund managers operating today, and it is not a top 50. I'm going to take you briefly into the web interface for the IA50. So if you see here, we're in the one of the fund manager's profile. So when you go to the ImpactAssets 50 page, you show up here and you can sort by, you can see the 2012 or 2011 fund managers. You can use these different filters here to filter by asset class, impact investment focus. And so these are ways that hopefully it makes it that 50 really visible, and so they can say, I want to invest in Africa, or I want to invest in education, and they can quickly identify fund managers who are doing that type of work. And so when you get this results list, it's sort of a brief overview. You can see a few of our funds from last year. You can also go deeper into each fund manager and see what their focus is in geography, in issue areas, get an overview, some additional information on their assets under management, their investment thesis. So this is really designed to be a great source of information for folks who either want sort of a broad view or a deeper view. But you'll notice that we don't put individual funds on here, so this is really a list of fund managers, not of individual funds. So even for organizations who don't have a fund that's open right now, this can still be a great way to make new investors aware of the work that you're doing. So I'll go back now to our presentation. And let's talk a little bit more about the criteria for being included in the ImpactAssets 50. So this may be part of the reason why you joined the call, is really understanding what goes into this selection criteria. The considerations that we follow are that applicants have 3+ years experience in impact investing field, so that's for the fund manager, not for an individual fund. That they invest through private debt or private equity, that they have at least $5 million in assets under management. This next one, operating in more than one country with significant population, region, for investors that it's applicable to them. If it's in a very small area, we just find that there may not be as many investors who are interested in learning about that organization. Managing assets that are recoverable, they have demonstrated financial capacity or oversight, and these last two are increasing in importance for us year over year, that these fund managers track their social and environmental impact, and it really is that they're demonstrating a significant commitment to social impact. So we do a first assessment where we make sure that the applications fit these criteria, and then because we've been fortunate to see the field grow in the last few years, and there are more than 50 who meet these criteria, then the applications are reviewed by a selection committee of industry leaders chaired by Jed Emerson, who's our chief impact strategist. And you may have heard of him from his other work as well. And what they're really looking for is curating a list that represents that breadth that I was talking about before, that they're representing different geographies, different impact areas, different asset classes. And that's definitely a point of confusion, but that's how we feel that we can be most useful to building the field and exposing the range of work that's happening in this field. Some other information you may be curious about. You all got information about this webinar when we opened the application on July 8th. We'll close the application on September 9th. This timeline's a little bit later than last year for those of you who may be familiar with it. We decided, a lot of folks leave during the summer, so hopefully extending it till September 9th, some additional time. Also, last year we announced the final list at SOCAP, the SOCAP conference, and this year we'll be announcing at the SRI conference, which is in late October. So once the selection committee decides on the final 50, then notifications will be sent in advance of the public announcement so that all of the selected fund managers have a chance to their own promotions. We'll send a sample press release. You'll see this badge that's in the lower corner of this slide. That's available for you to use once you're a selected fund manager, and we've seen different fund managers use them in their investor reporting on their website as a way of flagging that they were included on this list. We also do our own press releases and public announcements of this, so it's additional promotion that comes through that. And so that's definitely one of the benefits of being on the IA50, and we will support you in that and do an additional webinar to those fund managers that are selected so that they get all the information about ways to promote their inclusion on this list. Those were the main points that I had to run through. I think you can always reach us at ia50@impactassets.org. I receive those emails. I will answer them quickly. So any questions that weren't answered here, I haven't received any questions through the chat box, but I'll give it another minute just in case folks have been shy. I know we went through this fairly quickly, but sometimes it helps to just hear it from a voice rather than reading it on a website. Thank you all for joining today. And please do contact us with any questions, either about just to understand more about what this list is or to understand questions that you have about the application, if you're having any technical issues with the application. For those of you that applied last year, if it would be helpful, we do have your responses from last year, so we can send those to you as a starting place for this year's application. Hopefully that's all very clear. So if you don't have any questions, I really thank you for joining today. I encourage you to contact us with any, and we look forward to your application. Thank you. Oh, let's see. I'm getting one question here, actually. Understanding what the purpose of the platform is. So the purpose of the platform is meant to be a gateway for folks who are new to the field of impact investing. So we've gotten some good promotion through, let's say, some of the financial advisor publications, some other mainstream publications where they'll say, if you're looking to learn more, go to the IA50, because in a way, this is it's the only publicly available data on impact investing that provides information about different private debt and equity fund managers. And so even though it's not showing a specific fund, this is sort of the jump-off point for investors and their advisors to go and do their own due diligence. But it's a way for them to understand the range of players who are in the space. And the reason that we keep it to 50 is just because it's it makes it a manageable number for folks to look through. And so as the field grows, this decision gets more and more difficult because there's definitely more than 50 top impact investment managers out there who meet the basic criteria. So then it's really just a matter of curation and trying to provide a list that's most useful to folks who are new to the space. I've got another question here. I'm not sure I understand the question. There's one, what is the maximum amount of attendees? If that's about the webinar, I'm not sure, but, oh, the number of, it can be part of the network and how many times you will update the fund information. So, once you're an ImpactAssets 50 fund manager, you can use the badge for your year forever. So the folks from 2011 have a 2011 badge, from 2012 have a 2012 badge, and you don't need to stop using that at any point. So then you are part of the ImpactAssets 50 network. Once you're in that, we will update the fund information. We do that just based on inbound emails to this email address that you see here, ia50@impactassets.org. So any of that information as it needs to be updated, if your AUM changes, if your investment area focus changes, just let us know and we can update that information for you. We've got another question here about talking a little bit more about tracking and demonstration of impact. Could it be through GEARS? Could it be through a self-performed method? It can be through either GEARS or a self-performed method. If it is self-performed, it's just helpful to understand what that is. It's definitely because we realize that GEARS isn't, isn't adopted across the industry. There's not, we definitely accept other methods. Because also I think this is a growing attention for the field on how fund managers track their impact, but we realize that that requires certain organizational prioritization, and so we're trying to show that this is important to us because we think it's important to the growth of the field. And we'd like to feature some excellent examples of impact reporting, but so far we're not making it a requirement to submit an impact report or anything along those lines with the application. But we would like to see that it's important enough to you as a fund manager that you are tracking your social or environmental impact in some way. Should it be expected that the IA50 funds listed will change each year? Yes and no. So we do see some funds that were on it before fall come off, but that's not because they're doing less good work. It's because more and more organizations are coming into the field. We definitely don't change them out as an entire group. So we each year sort of reassess and look at the ones that make it through that initial criteria, and then, as I mentioned, try to curate the strongest list of 50 that we can for that year. So the organizations that were included the year before, it really has very little impact on who is included in the following year. Each year we sort of look at it anew and try to say, what is the best, of these all fantastic funds, what is the set that would be most helpful to folks who are new to the field? Another question about GEARS and IRIS. We can use either one of those. So it's great to use those. I think it's definitely sort of a standardized measure, so that's helpful to us as understanding exactly what that is versus a self-performed. But as I mentioned, it's just important to us to see that as a firm this is important to you, or as a fund manager this is important to you. So both of those work. There's also some other ones that are specific to the microfinance field that they use, and so there are some standard ones out there, but there are also organizations that have created their own, and those are both fine. Advisors and investors access this information through our website at ImpactAssets.org. So any of you can go there. Any average individuals, this does not have an accredited investor requirement or an FA requirement. So anyone can go onto ImpactAssets.org, go to the IA50 tab, and they can access that interface that I showed you. And a lot of folks, I think, just breeze through those sort of initial profiles, but they can also go deeper, and there's quite a bit of information about the investment thesis and all of that, as well as a key contact at those organizations. So we include an email for a contact at each of those, so you can reach out to them directly, their website, all that information. We just have to be careful about not getting into specific funds, because that becomes a little bit risky with being a product offering, and so then we wouldn't be able to make it publicly available. So all of this is accessible to the general public through our website. That was great. So I guess that pause brought in a lot of other questions. I don't see any more coming in. So again, just shoot us an email at IA50. Oh, let's see. Are the funds that we list closed, or are some open? Both. So some do not have open funds right now, and some do. So we can list either. We just don't list the individual funds. So we'll list fund managers, some that are open, some that are not. That's definitely been a question for folks before, when people sometimes make the mistake of thinking that it is an investable platform and that they need to be fundraising, and that's not true. So I would say if you're an organization that never plans to raise another fund, then maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that would be sort of for you to decide, and then for our selection committee to make a final decision on. But even if you have funds, you don't have any open funds right now, I think just as a way of showing the good work that an organization has done, what their investment thesis is, where they work, as a way for new investors to become familiar with them. We definitely encourage that whole range of fund managers to apply. I'll give it another minute just in case there's any other questions that come in. All right. Thank you very much for joining today. Contact us with any other questions, and we look forward to your application. Thank you.